Good morning. It's just coming up to 12 noon in Bangkok, and so far it has been a fairly pleasant day. We had a short, heavy shower of rain around 2 hours ago, and that has cooled down the temperature and also cleaned the air, so I don't have to breathe in the usual car fumes and dust. And exercising here in the park is more healthy than usual. The rain in Thailand is quite different from the rain in my country, England. In England it tends to drizzle. This means soft, gentle rain, but usually lasting a long time, whereas in Thailand the rain tends to be very heavy but lasts only a short while. I much prefer the latter because when the rain has stopped, the sun quickly dries out everything and it is comfortable. But in my country, the persistent drizzle tends to be very depressing because it causes you to be wet and cold most of the time. So here I am sitting comfortably with a strong fresh breeze and feeling quite lively. Before I came here, I went to have my hair cut, a chore I don't like very much because my barber, although he cuts my hair in a style which I really like, is really slow. He might well be the slowest barber in the world. He loves to talk, like many barbers, and he seems to spend more time talking than he does cutting. Today I got there and he had just finished having a shower, so he wasn't yet quite dressed. So I sat down and waited. I must have waited half an hour before he eventually came out. Then he stood around gossiping for another 20 minutes or so before he eventually got around to cutting my hair. So the whole job must have taken well over an hour. I try to be patient because I have been going to this guy for many years and I really like this style in which he cuts my hair. I have had bad experiences with barbers before, so when I find one I like, I tend to stick with him. So I am prepared to endure the waiting and gossip. He's an old man now and most of his conversation is about his medical problems. So the previous day, which was yesterday, he had to go to the hospital to have an injection for a lung infection. The previous time I had my hair cut it was something else, and so on. You get the picture. There's always some medical problem, and I fear that one day I will go there and his wife will tell me he has passed away. Then I will have the unenviable task of finding another barber. While we were sitting there and he was cutting my hair, another man came in, a regular customer. He later told me he was aged 78, so there then ensued more conversation about medical problems. Sometimes it is really depressing hanging around old people because they're always talking about problems with their body, and it makes me fearful of when these problems may come my way, hopefully a long way in the future. What about you? Do you prefer to always go to the same hairdresser, or are you happy to choose someone new? Many years ago, I think I was living in India at the time, I had a haircut and it was really horrible. The barber cut my hair in the style which was popular amongst Indian men at that time, and to my Western eyes it looked really ugly. I couldn't wait for my hair to grow again, and many other similar experiences have led me to be very cautious about who I choose to cut my hair. What about hanging around old people? Do you like this or not? I notice in Asia, young people have much more enduring contact with old people because of the extended family style. In Asia, grandparents often still live with their children and their grandchildren, so the new generation are used to and familiar with being around old people. But this is not the situation in the West. Old people tend to be segregated from the young people into old people's homes or retirement communities, or they may live by themselves and their children live somewhere else. On the positive side, it's beneficial, I think, to get the benefit of the experience of older people, and also try to anticipate some of the problems you may have when you are old. But on the negative side, they can often be quite boring to listen to. They often tend to talk about the same stories all the time, and their lives are often not much fun, being constantly assaulted with various medical problems. While I was having my hair cut, I was forced to sit in a chair for an hour or more, which I really hated. This may sound strange, but I really hate chairs. I think they are one technological development which is mostly bad for human beings. I think when we sit in a chair, we lose contact with our bodies. What I mean by this is we lose awareness and cease to use our bodily sensations to decide how we move. When you have no furniture, you may let the sensations of your body choose what position you are going to adopt, whether it is sitting, lying, standing, or some variation of all of these. Like when I used to live in India and used to watch monkeys in the forest. To them, furniture was the forest floor and trees, and they would adopt the positions of their bodies from the way they were feeling at the time, whether they wanted to rest or stretch or twist their body into a certain position or hang on a tree. The monkeys seem to have a high level of awareness of their own bodies, and this seemed to me to be the deciding factor in them choosing how to position themselves. But in the human world, we let furniture make the decision for us. So amazingly, billions of people every day sit in a chair, not because they think this is what their body feels like doing at the time, but because they are controlled by furniture. Of course, chairs have a very useful function. If, for example, you are working in an office, you have to work on a computer, maybe a chair is a very practical convenience. However, there are probably many times when a chair is not really the best choice, but we cease to think or investigate because we are accustomed to sitting. As I sit here in the park, the birds are singing in the tree above me, and their lives are certainly not constrained by furniture, unless you want to classify a tree as a piece of furniture. The freedom they have to move according to their self-awareness, I think, is far more intelligent than what human beings do, ironically. Although human beings are actually far more intelligent, we have in many ways lost touch with our sensations and let technology take control of us. So you might like to pay attention to your bodily movements and positions during the day and question whether what you are doing is the best thing at that point in time. As I sit here, it is still quite cloudy and windy. It feels like we may yet have some more rain, and I didn't bring an umbrella with me today, but I am not too worried. I am enjoying the pleasant weather today, and if I have to endure a few raindrops, I think I can handle that. So what are you doing now while I am sitting in one of the most beautiful spots in Bangkok? Are you stuck on a bus, or in a stuffy office, or a noisy factory? Don't you wish you were here with me? Bye for now.